met lyding en hoop, verdriet en saam staan jy staan. Jy is altyd daar. Dit wat ons doen, ons liefdes, ons vreugdes, ons plekke, ons thuisdes, tot daar waar ons reis, jy is daar. Afrikaans is ons wese, dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Al verander straatname, al word helde laat val, ons is steeds deur ons adem, ons kultuur, ons verhaal, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese, dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Ons is daarmee gebore, die taal waarvoor ons staan, dit vloei deur ons are, ons kinders praat het saam, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese, dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir my mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down.
Alright, here we are, folks.
Can't be afraid to live this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in our eyes, they know we'll burn down the night, coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that since I'm down in Boulders, folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. Welcome back to the program, folks. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania on the 2nd of May, 2024. Wow. What are we going to say? Oh, last big indie show. What do you mean, Dusty? What do you mean? When does it finally begin? Right now. We have introduction music so that people get a chance to tune in, get their internet connection rolling, all that stuff. Val Cooper here early this morning. Hey, Val, welcome. George Steinberg as well from Heckport. Vilma Erasmus. Fiona's here. Jan Villion. And then we've got Ants is back. It's just me. Hey, Ants, how's it going? Monray Siebritz, Jan Villion, Pierre Orban, Teresa, Lorraine Slabbert. By the way, another update before I go any further on that, how communism impacted ethnic minorities, broadcast with Ernst Rutz and Janusz. They had no connection again this morning, so they're going to try to get me when they get back to Hungary, hopefully tomorrow. So we'll see, waiting to hear back from them. Lorraine says, Cape Town is beautiful tonight. Yeah, it always is a beautiful place, especially from the air. Clive Streak, welcome to you. Dusty. Ken Aronston's back. What's going on? Okay, Gina Mullman. Hey, Gina. Chris Ehlers. Lorraine Slabbert. And Jax is back. Hey, Jax. Making dinner. That's awesome. Mike says, howdy, cowboy. Well, howdy to you, Mike. Sue Walsh. There's a story behind this hat for those who aren't long-term viewers or missed out what happened. My first trip back to the Republic of South Africa after the COVID scam politically, I went back in August of 2022. I was in South Africa. And the weather hooligan had been put in touch with me. I interviewed him in my program, and he asked me if I could do him a favor. Could I bring him a cowboy hat? So I went and looked, and the hats he wanted, we couldn't find the right size. We finally settled on this straw hat, which is a nice one. But the cowboy hats he wanted were like $500. I think it was a bit more than he intended to pay. So bought this one for him. And I took the hat everywhere I went. Everywhere I flew, to the airport, from here to my next destination, I think I went through Chicago and then through Frankfurt, and from Frankfurt to Cape Town. And everywhere I went, from Cape Town, I flew to Joburg to Uppington. And then when I came back to Joburg and had that meet and greet that night, Debbie set that meet and greet up. The weather hooligan was there, and we gave him the hat. Sadly, his hat was stolen, but I came back to the States, and the hat was so popular, I bought one for myself. And so that's the story of the hat. Somebody's out there mowing their lawn. I mowed mine early this morning, but now they're mowing. Gert says, Grüße an alle. Well, welcome, Gert. Allison Johnson is there. Laudine Monday. Hester Kutze. And My 5 Pence is back. Speaking of Uppington, how's it going? Chris Swanepoel, almost missed you there. And whom else have I missed here? I think I caught everybody. If I missed you, it wasn't intentional. Well, folks, it's another day, a beautiful day here in central Pennsylvania. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and it is hot. Already up to nearly 9 kilowatt hours today. And I think this chart is wrong. It's telling me I have 55 kilowatt hours this month. That's impossible since there's only one day prior to this. It's got the wrong week. That's why. Okay, here we go. It hasn't reset the week. It should reset the month for May 1st. Anyway, why is it not? It's not working. I have to cancel that app and try to reopen it, see if it gives me the correct information now. Something tells me it won't. It's not working right. So my solar app is not working. I like the one that, there we go. Now it's correct. But it still says 55 for this month, and there's no way. Had 46 yesterday. Wow. And, oh yeah, I guess that's right. 46. Wow, 46 kilowatt hours yesterday. Anyway, Paulie's here. Welcome to Paulie. So more news about elections in South Africa and a little bit about the States as well. So thanks for tuning in, folks. I hope you're well wherever you find yourselves around the world. Lots of South Africans here. Kuban is back. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back to you, Kuban. It's been a while. We've got coverage coming up. So next week, just a quick rundown of some of the interviews. On Monday, Athol Troll will be on the program, I believe at 4 p.m. South Africa time, but I'm waiting for confirmation from Athol. And then on Tuesday, we have Mark Oppenheimer from Brain and Avant, the constitutional attorney, will be here at 4 p.m. South Africa time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. Also on Tuesday, we have our first Action SA candidate in Notokela will be with us. She'll be on at 5 p.m. before we do the news at 6. And then I've got a medical appointment, so I'll have to run. That's on the 7th. No, I don't have a medical appointment. Something's not right. Confusing there. Anyway, and then we've got, I forgot to mention, Sunday we have two interviews, one at 3 p.m. South Africa time. That's Johan Bosman. We're going to talk about solar photovoltaic safety. That sounds like an esoteric and maybe a boring topic, but of great importance to a country that's heavily reliant on solar PV installation, courtesy of Eskom's malfeasance and incompetence. And then after Johan Bosman, we'll have Neil de Beer, the president of the United Independent Movement, will be on the program after that, the next hour. So there you go. Fleshin is here from the 15-minute city of Oxford in the UK. Chris says, the worst Springboks I ever saw was Butch, James, Percy, Peter Rousseau, and Robbie Fleck. Okay. Martin K. That's unsolicited comment on the Springboks. Where'd that come from? High pollen count today. If you're bothered by the pollen here in central Pennsylvania, it's pretty high. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Cyril Ramaphosa is in desperate straits. He knows that he's going to be removed as the head of the ANC after his party fails in this election. And so he's doing everything he can to hold on to power rather than go back to flipping burgers at McDonald's. He doesn't want to do that. So Ramaphosa is now talking about a reconciliation with Thabo Mbeki, saying relying on Thabo Mbeki to help him out. Well, he hints at working with Mbeki on the national dialogue after the elections. There is the communist-in-chief from the COSATU trade union. That's Zingwizi Losi dancing with Cyril Ramaphosa. Yep, in his 40,000 Rand jacket there. President Ramaphosa wants to work with former President Thabo Mbeki after elections convene a national dialogue to address enormous challenges faced by South Africans and come up with solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, Cyril Ramaphosa has been president of South Africa since February of 2018. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That would be 6 years he's been president of South Africa. Now, technically, if you think about it, Ramaphosa is not even eligible for the office of president. Think about that. No one's even broached that topic. Have you thought about that? Because he was appointed president during the office of Jacob Zuma. Therefore, he served one term. Now he's in his second term, which he got in 2019. So Cyril Ramaphosa cannot even be the president of South Africa after May 29th. Has anyone even talked about that? Have you thought about that? I've heard nobody mention that Cyril Ramaphosa is no longer eligible to be the president of South Africa. Has anyone mentioned that? Nope. He served his 2 terms. Under the Constitution, he has served his 2 terms. When you serve part of a term, it doesn't matter if it's 1 day. But he has been president for 6 years. There's a super chat from Garrett. Hey, Garrett. Bye donkey, 35 Rand. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, he has served his 2 terms. Has anybody mentioned that? I think I need to do a short on that one and mention and point out to people that Cyril Ramaphosa is no longer eligible for president of South Africa. His term expires with this election. Think about that, folks. There you have it. Well, Chris Ehlers, I'm still angry about the loss in 2015 in the quarterfinal. They never should have lost that game. Should have won that World Cup in England. Anyway, 6 years and achieved nothing. So he says he wants a national dialogue. Wow. Exactly, Ken. Exactly. Not a single South African newspaper, not a single South African analyst, not the IEC, not one person has made the connection, the obvious, painfully obvious connection that Cyril Ramaphosa is not eligible to be president. They gleefully point out that Jacob Zuma is not eligible, and they are correct. He served 2 terms. But so has Ramaphosa. The squirrel is not eligible. Not eligible. That's right, Ken. You heard it here first. I held that one back, folks. I held that one back until we got into May because I want to hammer it home that Ramaphosa cannot serve as president of South Africa going forward after this election. That's the bottom line. But of course, they will break the law and violate the Constitution because they're just criminals. Yep. He served 2 terms. Game over, man. I don't know if you're keeping score, man. We just got our asses kicked. It's game over. Hicks, calm down. Or Hudson. It's Hudson. Hudson, calm down. They should keep Ramaphosa. The rest will be worse. Nope. He's not going to be president. No, I don't think that Rama really cares for the rule of law. We know that. He says, we need to continue consolidating the consensus process that brings everyone together, working together with people like Mbeki and others to bring that process to getting people to talk. What will we talk about? The economy and how we can have an economy that's going to produce jobs, how we can embark on efforts to rid our country of poverty. Well, I can tell you how to solve all of these problems almost overnight. Futsek ANC, Futsek black supremacy, Futsek racist. and forsake your racist legislation denying people who lack sufficient skin pigmentation their basic human dignity and rights. That's why your country's in the crapper. That and the fact that you're a cabal of criminals. Simple as that. Simple as that. He's going to be fired. Yep. Yes, he will be recalled because of his failures, but it doesn't matter. He won't be president anymore. He cannot serve as president. It's illegal. It violates your constitution. But hey, that's never stopped the racist ANC from doing what it wanted to. Leaked audio of the ANC misusing public resources for its criminal re-election campaign. Wow, trying to buy votes. The Daily Maverick reports that leaked audio exposes ANC election plan for government public relations events to showcase their successes. Now, here's the irony. There are no ANC successes in 2024, maybe in 2004, but in 2024, there is nothing to crow about. From aesthetic mortuary vehicles to books and solar panels, government has thrown itself into a spat of launches, handovers, and cutting of ribbons to highlight the ANC's delivery record as the May 29th poll approaches. This is a fraudulent misuse, criminal misuse of state resources. We need government and departments to submit what projects they're going to launch or unveil between now and the elections. ANC elections boss Mdumsini Ntuli was heard telling the meeting in April, the National Executive Committee, after having emphasized government had to aggressively communicate the ANC successes. Together we must plan how the ANC is going to take advantage of this. Wow. They highlighted the need for seamlessly integrated approach between the ANC and government interventions. They gave a mid-April deadline for ministers, provincial counterparts, and departments to submit their plans to the ANC so that the ANC can misuse government resources to hoodwink rubes into voting for them. Wow. Criminals everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. John Musline, welcome to you. Wow. Everywhere you look. Well, 33 days free of load shedding in South Africa. Crime is down. Business is up. The lights are on. Things are improving. This is what happens when ANC desperately burns through the diesel budget and sheds electric consumers like viral particles as they go off grid. This is what you get. You get the ANC being able to trick people into thinking that load shedding is over. It's not over, folks. It's not. Load shedding returns on June 1st. Yep. South Africa's relished a whole month with no electricity cuts. Huzaifa Navlaki, the owner of Johannesburg's Great Butcher Shop, specialized in fresh chicken, said it's a major plus because we get the chance to try to recover financially. His business has been running at a 500,000 Rand loss per year for the past 3 years. We're feeling the effects of load shedding and have cash flow issues, and we're going to need a year or two to recover from the losses we've been making over the years. Well, it's going to take more than a year or two for some businesses, people's lives destroyed by Eskom's incompetence. Well, South African labor unions in their evil alliance, the tripartite alliance of evil, the axis of evil between the Communist Party, the ANC, and COSATU, the axis of evil. That's right. They are all in with Cyril Ramaphosa as he goes to the mat in an election he can't even serve in. He can serve in parliament, but not as president. And nobody noticed this. Funny. All the commentators, everybody in South Africa, and not one South African commentator, not one elections analyst at the Africa Report, Jeune Afrique, at News 24, IOL, Daily Maverick, Mail and Guardian, the host of YouTubers, Twitter, not one person has mentioned that Cyril Ramaphosa is legally ineligible to serve as president after May 29th. That's right, folks. You heard it here. I'm shocked that nobody announced it. I held on to this as long as I could, but I can't hold it any longer. The Rama Squirrel is not eligible to serve as president. There you go. Yep. Wow. Many of the 1.5 million members of the largest trade union, COSATU, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, is backing the ANC. But of course they are. This job-crushing kleptocracy is, of course, who they back, because they all get baksheesh. Yes. With 4 weeks to go before the 7th general election, Congress of Trade Unions South Africa President Zingwizi Losi told a rally of workers on May Day in Cape Town. We will stand by the ANC as we unleash our elections machinery crisscrossing workplaces. The ANC will remain with us as we tackle unemployment, crime, and corruption, continue to build a better life for all our people. What planet is she living on? Build a better life? Back the ANC? You've lost 400,000 manufacturing jobs under the ANC in just the past decade. You have racist laws that cripple the economy, like the Tourism Relief Fund. You have a corrupt criminal justice system, a corrupt police department, corrupt members of government who steal every single day, collapsing infrastructure, jobs disappearing left and right. Why would you align with the ANC? They are job destroyers. They are dependency builders. They put people on the dole and put them there into perpetuity. That's what the ANC does. They wouldn't know how to create a job if it stared them in the face. Wow. Well, a basic income grant, according to Business Tech, is coming to South Africa, courtesy of Cyril the Squirrel, ineligible for President Ramaphosa. South Africa on its way to getting a basic income grant, calling it a victory for the country's working class. Addressing COSATU members at the Union Federation's Workers' Day rally on Wednesday, May 1st, the president said the workers had fought for income rights and won. Today, after years of struggle, you have won the minimum wage. South Africa now has a national minimum wage. Yeah, and then he talks about all the handouts that they gave. Deficit spending by a corrupt government that was busy taking money out of your pocket. COSATU wants leftist coalition partner for an ANC, not the Democratic Alliance, saying that they prefer MK or the EFF. Yeah, well, they actually say EFF. The ANC-aligned Union Federation held its annual Workers' Day rally in Athlone in the Western Cape amid a fierce election campaign in which the governing party is at risk of losing its national majority for the first time. Here's a spoiler alert. They've already lost it. The ANC faces prospect of entering coalitions in Gauteng, KZN, and the Western Cape. Dream on, not in the Western Cape. And potentially at national level. Yes, they will at national level. Boy, this Propaganda 24 just loves to carry the water for ANC. Every indicator gives the clear impression that the ANC will not give 50% if it's a free and fair election. Yet Propaganda 24 continues to caveat their commentary. Yes. So Losi tells News 24 that COSATU has not taken a formal decision on potential coalition scenarios, but they don't want the DA. Yeah, it's because they hate the DA. You know, communists would hate the DA. They're just socialist. Canal Plus is upped its stake in multi-choice to nearly 43%. The French multinationals acquired a further 3.87 million multi-choice shares. Canal Plus increased its holding to nearly 43% as they buy more shares, underlining its intent to take control of Africa's largest pay TV company. And yet another industrial loss to South Africa under the ANC. Another South African corporation bought out from under South Africans during the ANC's watch. Ramaphosa dangling national health insurance disaster in front of Rubes to get their votes. Yep, speaking to COSATU at the Workers' Day rally, he said the ANC government had processed many policies and laws which were demanded by South Africa's working class. Among these is the National Health Insurance Bill. Now, the working class has never demanded such nonsense. This is the wet dream of policymakers in the corrupt socialist kleptocracy of the ANC. It has nothing to do with people's demand. Nobody's demanding national health insurance and the government take over the healthcare sector. Nobody in their right mind, including people who use public medical facilities, aren't demanding this. This is just nonsense. You've advocated for years and you wanted all our people to be treated equally when it comes to healthcare. That's not your role in government to determine who gets what healthcare. That's up to the free market. And you lunatics in South Africa, in the ANC, better start waking up to that reality or you will collapse your economy in the near term. Well, speaking of collapsing the economy, the dear leader himself, Julius Malema, I confused the two of them, both short little Teletubbies. Yes, Julius Malema says that winning over voters in KZN is not going to be easy. You think? You've got no platform other than stealing and racism. Polls suggest EFF's growth depends on making inroads in KZN. Party leader Juju admits that penetrating the support base is proving to be difficult. KZN is a virgin area for us, and we have a new organization. I'm sorry, that is simply a factual lie. The Economic Freedom Fighters is not a new organization. It has existed for 10 years. The fact that you've neglected KZN proves you don't give a flying flip about South Africans. You just want attention and your money from the Oppenheimers or whoever your dirty, under-the-table, money-grubbing donors are that you fail to report to the IEC. Well, he makes lots of promises. Juju goes on his promise tour. Will he stop singing Kill the Boer? No, he didn't promise that. He vows to resolve the Hammanskraal water woes and quash the construction mafia. Yeah, okay. Your lifespan just got pretty short, buddy. Yeah, if the EFF gains control after the 29 May elections, which they won't, they resolve water issues in Hammanskraal within 3 months. I'm sorry, is this the same EFF that promised to build a school in the Eastern Cape 5, 6 years ago? It hasn't materialized. Yeah, EFF is not new. They're just frauds. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Mampara of the day is the Electric Ministry, COSATU Ramaphosa. Yeah, can we give it up for our Mampara of the day? Hey, well, here it is, folks. Yeah, the electric slide minister. You can do it. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. The electric slide minister himself, Ramaphosa, is telling us that load shedding is over. The Mampara of the day. Minister of Electricity, Dr. Oh, now he's a doctor now. Dr. COSATU Ramaphosa said yesterday the tide has turned for South Africa in the energy crisis. The end of load shedding was now in sight. Yeah, so is the 22nd century, but it's a long sight off. He said on social media, Eskom's achievement of an energy availability factor of 65.5% confirms success of the aggressive maintenance-led recovery. That's just nonsense. They're not at 65%, and they're not going to get there. And by the way, the 65% is down from the 52 gigawatts of installed base they once had. You see, they've closed coal-fired power plants, and then they reduced the amount of generation capacity, and then they claim that they've increased the amount of production. Liar, a liar, pants on fire. COSATU Ramaphosa, the Mampara of the day. We're going to have to start giving that every single day between now and the election. What do you mean it's not deemed a term? Yes, it is. Yes, it is, John Jarvis, according to News 24. Absolutely. Absolutely. He was voted in. He served 1 day. That's what the Constitution says. I'll look up the reference there. I'll look it up. They gleefully report it. Yes. We will return on May 30th. Yep, Zuma to appear before, what's the DC? Power stations are on fire. Yeah, they're literally on fire. So, what do people have to say? Do you support Thabo Mbeki's assertion that Jacob Zuma is a wolf in sheep's clothing? Now, admittedly, this is the Times on Live, which is probably mostly a minority audience. Excuse me, folks. I had a big sneeze there. I had to turn the microphone off. Former President Talon Bezuidenhout's election campaign strategy seems to be focused on MP party leader Jacob Zuma and corruption allegations against Zuma. While many of the opinion that Mbeki joined the campaign too late. So what did the poll say? When I voted, the poll total, they won't tell you how many votes there were. 83% said that he's untrustworthy. That would be Jacob Zuma. That's not a surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, I can prove to you that the South African Police Service and the criminal justice system does work. For those of you crying out for justice over your assaulted family members, your murdered family members, for the theft of your property, for your solar panels being pilfered, for being carjacked, for being shot, being assaulted, being denied basic human dignity, SAPS does work. And when they're on the job, they're very efficient. They are very good at going after a select group of criminals. You notice the VBS scandal, the Venda Bank scandal, only one person has been convicted of a crime. And of course, that was the white gentleman who was the banker. Not Shivambu, not anybody in the EFF involved in the scandal. So they are very good at prosecuting crimes. Remember how quickly they rolled up the Boermag? There were like 3 times as many government spies inside the Boermag as actual Boermag members. They rolled them up and put them in prison pretty quickly. Well, here's the latest proof that SAPS and the justice system do work. Ladies and gentlemen, a bogus service provider sentenced on money laundering charges. Maria Luisa Fenta pled guilty to all charges. Boy, she looks really sad about it too. A woman who posed as a bogus service provider to a local municipality in the Free State has been sentenced in the Welcome Commercial Crimes Court. Maria Luisa Fenta, 44 years of age, pled guilty to charges of money laundering. Wow. In December 2020, the budget manager at Mansopa local municipality received an electronic mail from a suspect pretending to be a service provider called Project Pioneer Construction, requesting an outstanding payment of 225,000 Rand. The budget manager, knowing that there was indeed an outstanding amount of money to be paid to the service provider, requested permission from the chief financial officer to make the payment. Permission was granted. The money was transferred to the bank account provided by the bogus service provider. Days later, the legitimate service provider approached and asked for their money. On February 14th, 2024, Fenter was located and arrested in Pretoria by SAP's Detective Services based in Pretoria North and handed over to the Hawks to make her first appearance on February 16th. And just 2 months later, she's sentenced to 8 years in prison. 8 years in prison. SAPS does work. They will get you if you commit crimes. If you're white. Well, they're very efficient at taking down the white folks when it comes to crime. Yep. Neighboring Namibia has accused the European Union of regime change. Ooh, here's a serious charge. SWAPO also getting desperate in neighboring Namibia. Namibia's ruling SWAPO party says the European Union may influence the outcome of the 27 November presidential elections after envoys hosted a meeting with Independent Patriots for Change leader Panduleni Itula, widely seen as a credible threat to the Liberation Movement's 34-year grip on power. So they are already going after the opposition, the corrupt communists in SWAPO, looking to hold on to power, despite the fact that they're wildly unpopular because endemic poverty is worse today for the 2.8 million Namibians than it was for the 1.4 million Namibians in 1989. There you have it. Yes. Zimbabwe's new ZIG currency, not the ZAG, but the ZIG currency from Zimbabwe finally hits the streets. So why were they arresting currency traders who were trading in dollars if the ZIG notes hadn't hit the street? But they're not everywhere. Look at these cheap-looking, crappy bills. The notes and coins of Zimbabwe's sixth currency since independence, Zimbabwe Gold, or the ZIG, hit the streets this week as the government makes yet another attempt to tame inflation by destroying your existing currency reserves. Oh, isn't that nice how they can do that? The money has coins worth 1, 2, and 5 ZIG and notes for denominations 10 and 200. Of course, 200 is probably like $1 US. President Mnangagwa pleased with the public's reception of ZIG so far. I commend all Zimbabweans for the manner in which they've adopted and are protecting the use of our currency. Of course, he doesn't mention the fact that the police have been arresting dozens of currency traders, accusing them of undermining the new ZIG. I guess they didn't zag when the cops came. ZANU-PF is jerry-rigging the elections, ensuring violating the Constitution, making sure that Mnangagwa can stay beyond his 2 terms, just like his predecessor, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the scumbag of the earth. Well, the crocodile is not much different. And here we see once again the extrajudicial misuse of the rule of law to ensure into perpetuity the rule of fossils in Zimbabwe, also known affectionately as Cloud Cuckoo Land. According to Chiwenga Block, Zimbabwe's ZANU-PF is plotting to keep Mnangagwa in power. Ruling party working together with a proxy opposition party to postpone elections that extend Zimbabwe's president, Mr. Mnangagwa's term by 2 years, which effectively again postpones Vice President Constantine Chiwenga's turn as president. What do you mean? Okay, wait, turn as president? It's not his turn. He's a coup plotter. He should be in prison for overthrowing the elected government. Of course, it wasn't legitimately elected. They stole that election, did ZANU-PF. But the point is that Constantine Chiwenga led a bloodless coup to overthrow Robert Gabriel Mugabe in 2017. Have we forgotten this? No, some of us haven't. Wow. Tourists have been evacuated from Kenya's Masai Mara Reserve, ladies and gentlemen, amid severe flooding. The flooding continues. Lots of people have been killed by this flooding. Now tourists have been evacuated by air from Kenya's Masai Mara National Reserve after more than a dozen hotels, lodges, and camps were flooded as heavy rains continue to batter the country. Tourist accommodation facilities were submerged after a river within the Masai Mara broke its banks early yesterday. The reserve is in southwestern Kenya. It's a major popular tourist destination and a huge source of foreign currency for Kenya. It's bad mojo for the Kenyans. They can ill afford this. Daniel Prinsloo has given 140 Rand super chat saying, how can Gate McKenzie blatantly use the K word on Biz News and nothing happens? Because he's black and he's in politics. They can say and do what they want in politics, people. Especially if they're black in South Africa. Doesn't matter. If you're Julius Malema, you can call for the murder of white South Africans and sing a song encouraging people to violence. You can exhort them to attack retail locations for clicks using petrol bombs, breaking into stores, threatening pensioners, trying to get their life-saving medications, and nothing will happen to you. Green Phantom, it doesn't matter. The ANC claims that colored people are black as well. Haven't you kept up with the ANC's rhetoric? They're black as well. Only the whiteys are not black, according to the ANC. They are historically disadvantaged black people, according to the ANC. John Jarvis is directing me to the Constitution. I will go there later on and check it again. Thank you, John Jarvis. And if I've misread it, then I will admit that. Gayton is not black, he's colored. That's no distinction to the ANC. Kenya is ordering evacuation of all riverside communities and dwellings amid these deadly floods. Kenya's president ordered on Tuesday the evacuation of all homes along the nation's rivers after floods killed at least 169 over the past month. Dozens of people still missing. The announcement came a day after a torrent of water swept away scores of people near the town of Mai Maua, which I reported on previously. President Ruto visited a school housing some of the many people displaced by the flooding. It's crazy. There's a lady with her baby standing near her house in a muddy area. Look at all these people looking for high ground amidst the floods. Sad, tragic news out of Kenya, folks. Well, the United States Africa Command, U.S. Africa Command, has launched its annual exercise. This time it's in Tunisia this year. That's right. Its premier and largest annual exercise, known as African Lion, is underway in Tunisia. U.S. Southern European Task Force will be hosting the exercise across Tunisia, Senegal, Ghana, and Morocco with more than 8,000 military personnel from over 27 nations. And this lasts until May 31st. Now, Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Sang, okay, African Lion provides an opportunity to conduct realistic, dynamic, and collaborative readiness training, yada, 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 yada. It's the 20th year that African Lion has been going on across Africa, and it's being hosted by the Tunisians this year, despite the fact that their government's run by a criminal who violated the Constitution to dismiss Parliament and retains power. Kais Saied, the criminal. Turkey is now looking to join, as a friend of the South African lunatics from the ANC, the fraudulent genocide case against Israel in the International Court of Justice, which has gone nowhere. So the man who destroyed the secularism in Turkey, that would be Erdogan, is trying to influence events. Foreign Minister says Ankara will submit a formal request to the International Court to join the case. Well, good. Join the case, you pariah state of Turkey. Kick them out of NATO. Upon completion of legal text of our work, we'll submit a declaration of official intervention before the ICJ. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if they are going to do that, then I think it's time that we file a case in the International Court of Justice against Turkey for genocide against the Kurds. There you go. Genocide against the Kurds. They are committing genocide against the Kurds and have been doing it for 30 years. And it is high past time that we stop letting them get away with their genocide against the Kurds. If the Turks want to play this game, we can play it with a country that's actually guilty of genocide, Turkey. So there you go. Be careful. People living in glass houses should not throw stones, Mr. Erdogan. The death toll in southern China has risen after a highway collapse. 48 people already lost. Recovery efforts continue amid steady rain after a stretch of carriageway collapsed early on Wednesday. The death toll in a highway collapse in southern China risen to 48. State news agency Xinhua reported the updated death toll at 3:35, that's 7:35 Greenwich Mean Time in the morning, on Thursday. Today, it said earlier that 30 people have been injured, adding that they were not in life-threatening condition. That is a lot of people. Highway collapsed early Wednesday morning as China began its major May Day holidays, traditionally one of the busiest times of the year. Wow. The early photographs showed one side of the S12 highway between Maizhou City and Dabu County had fallen away as earth beneath it collapsed, sending mud cascading down the steep and forested hillside. That's some bad mojo. Thoughts and prayers to those who've lost loved ones in that situation. Well, Europe is resorting to protectionism and subsidies in violation of the World Trade Organization rules and regulations to protect its industry and to crowd out foreign competition, which is much more effective and efficient, trying to stop U.S. arms manufacturers and technology companies from having a hammer grip over Europe's arms and tech markets. Europe takes radical steps to boost production. There's no other option, says EU official Thierry Breton, one of the nastiest human beings alive. Yeah, he wants state spending to support domestic manufacturing to compete with U.S. and China, a reversal of long-time policy to clamp down on national subsidies. Early this year, top European Union official made an eye-catching proposal, 100 billion euros public fund that would curb Europe's reliance on U.S. defense manufacturers who make two-thirds of Europe's military hardware. The cash would subsidize European companies to develop and manufacture more weapons at home. Now, of course, we know that Europe subsidizes agriculture to the pain of Africans and Asians. It subsidizes its energy sector to the pain of oil producers abroad. And it subsidizes many sectors of its economy. These are evil, evil people. Peloton CEO is stepping down here in the United States. Barry McCarthy to step down amid job cuts, preparing for 15% of the workforce being let go. The chief executive of Peloton, these are the people who make that elliptical bike for exercise. Well, nobody's buying their garbage anymore. Do you know why? Because Peloton ran an ad several years ago in which a man bought for Christmas his wife a Peloton bike. And the woke leftists lost their minds. Are you implying that she's chubby and fat? That your wife has to lose weight, so you bought her an elliptical bike? Never mind the fact that the elliptical bike is something she can exercise on without leaving the house, protecting her safety, and it's good for her cardiovascular system. No mention of her weight or anything like that. But the leftists were upset, so they just got upset. Peloton took a big hit. Then these cowards at Peloton took a different approach, the elimination of white men from all their advertising. And guess what? That led to the elimination of white men purchasing their shitty elliptical bikes. Peloton, I hope you go bankrupt, you racist bigots. White men are gone. Oh, there are no white men on Peloton unless they're obese and ugly and they're in the background and not the main part of any of their commercials. So screw you, Peloton. Go woke, go broke. That's right. You are going to go broke. Goodbye, Peloton. Well, folks, Joe Biden's proxy war, Jens Stoltenberg's proxy war has a human cost, and it's lives. The Washington Post reports that soldiers who lost their eyesight in battle, Ukrainian soldiers, will never see their new children, pulling at the heartstrings, hoping we give more money to fuel proxy war so that more young men in Ukraine can be left blind. In the 10 months since his daughter was born, Ruslan Koshok has hardly left her side. He held his baby Isabella in the hospital before his wife did. Lately, he's learned to keep her steady as she practices her first steps, but he's never seen her. 3 months before her birth, the 47-year-old was blinded when shrapnel from a Russian shell pierced the left side of his skull in Chasiv Yar, a small city where he was fighting as a soldier in eastern Ukraine. He was once a tattoo artist with his own salon, but his injury has robbed him of his profession, his hobbies, his routine, and most painfully of the chance to see his daughter grow up. He's over one of 1,000 blinded soldiers from Ukraine in the past 2 years, walking around with his wife and his daughter, whom he'll never see. Here he's found solace learning to climb a rock wall. And here's Ukrainian veteran Denis Abdulin. He's in Kiev. He lost the use of both eyes 2 years ago after shrapnel from a mortar pierced his skull through his left ear and exited his right eye. Good Lord. There he is with his 9-year-old son, Vadim. He's learned to be a massage therapist. This is the human cost of Joe Biden and Jens Stoltenberg's proxy war in Ukraine. Yep. Well, the United States House passes an anti-Semitic law which some say threatens free speech. Rights groups warn that the definition could further chill freedom of speech as protests continue on college campuses. U.S. House of Representatives has overwhelmingly passed a bill that would extend the federal definition of anti-Semitism despite opposition. Notice how Al Jazeera misleads, passes controversial bill that expands definition. No, this... 320 to 91 was the vote. If the bill were to become law, it would codify the definition of anti-Semitism created by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance in Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So how does it expand anything when it's already in public law? That is a federal anti-discrimination law that bars discrimination based on shared ancestry, ethnic characteristics, or national origin. But critics say the definition could be used to stifle campus protests against Israel. No. See, these Jew-hating, Christian-hating scumbags and pro-terror supporters are not going to be affected by this law. They'll get away with it. Well, stolen valor, folks. We've talked about that before in the program. Stolen valor. Sharon Tony Finch, who served in Iraq, has been charged with fraudulently claiming to have a Purple Heart and with defrauding the Veterans Affairs Department. A woman in upstate New York was arrested on Wednesday and charged with fraudulently claiming to be a Purple Heart recipient. The woman, Sharon Tony Finch, 43 of Newburgh, defrauded military charities and the Department of Veterans Affairs by lying about having received a Purple Heart, a military award given for those wounded or killed in action. Ms. Tony Finch claimed that she survived a terrorist attack in her convoy in Iraq while she was serving a tour in March 2010. She claimed to have been wounded in a mortar attack the preceding February. In March 2016, she began collecting disability payments from the Veterans Administration after lying about getting injured during her military service. Between July 2019 and September 2023, she defrauded donors to a charity she founded by claiming any money donated would go to supporting homeless veterans, when she in fact spent the funds on personal expenses. If convicted, Ms. Tony Finch faces more than 30 years in prison for wire fraud, theft of government funds, stolen valor, and altering military paperwork. She allegedly engaged in a series of lies in which she misappropriated donations from military charities and falsely nominated herself as a Purple Heart recipient to receive illicit disability payments. Acts of stolen valor are especially egregious as they distract from sacrifices of those who were truly injured defending our nation. She also lied to the National Purple Heart Hall of Fame in order to obtain a medallion and have her name mentioned in the foundation's website. She used a military discharge certificate that she altered to falsely show Purple Heart status. Wow. She came under fire in May of 2023 after she recruited a group of homeless men to pose as homeless veterans and claimed that they'd been kicked out of an upstate hotel shelter so that it could house migrants. Wow. Her decision to exploit our veterans and the genuine admiration and love our community has for them could have turned an already tense situation into something much worse. Well, there you go. Another criminal in stolen valor. My goodness. Colombia, rod is on display. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. A man who's kicked out of the country for his actions. Sami Al-Aryan led a dual life as a computer science professor and supporter of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Wow, a deported terrorist professor praises his wife for joining the mob. The wife of a former computer science professor who pled guilty to providing support to terrorists joined protesters at Columbia University in Manhattan, earning a shout-out from her radical husband who was deported to Turkey after serving federal prison time. The New York Police Department acknowledged a woman with ties to the convicted terrorist supporter was present without naming names. Last week, there was the wife of somebody who had been convicted of material support terrorism on campus, said Assistant New York Police Department Commissioner Rebecca Weiner during a briefing on Wednesday. Well, there she is. My wife, Nala, in solidarity with the brave and very determined Columbia University students. Yeah, anti-Semite Jew haters, not brave students. Well, a woman is upset with J.P. Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon. Wow, he has really torched this one here. J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon claimed consumers are in pretty good shape. He was branded out of touch over comments to the Wall Street Journal. Inflation rose 3.5% in March alone, well above the Fed's 2% target. Can you imagine? They're actually trying to get inflation at 2%. It's 3.5%. JP Morgan CEOs come under fire for claiming average Americans are in pretty good shape financially despite soaring inflation and stagnant interest rates, crippling household budgets. He was blasted as out of touch for the comments made during an interview on the Wall Street Journal's podcast. But his remarks were slammed online, including one by a furious TikToker left displeased after the head of the U.S. largest bank claimed Americans are still spending down funds handed out during the pandemic. Really? What funds? I have no funds from the pandemic. My jaw was dropped at the crap he was saying. It was so effing out of touch. This is the largest bank in America, this TikToker said. Wow. She went after Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon's been all over the place. He's got some things right. He's got other things wildly wrong in the past several months. I don't know what's going on with Jamie Dimon. Joe Biden will expand 2 National Park Service locations. He's enlarging the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument and the Berryessa Snow Mountain National Monument. Yep, the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument and the Berryessa Snow Mountain will each get new boundaries designed to preserve land that holds cultural significance for Native American tribes and it's teeming with biodiversity as well as wildlife corridors. In other words, driving up the cost of land to people in California. Well, there you go. Well done. Police have moved into the University of California, Los Angeles over the past couple of days, and now they've arrested 90 at Dartmouth. And last night, University of New Hampshire, they stopped the terror supporters in their tracks. LAPD officers began moving in a pro-Palestinian protest at the University of California, Los Angeles early today, pushing through barricades and detaining demonstrators while students yelled peaceful protest and called on the police to go home. Peaceful protest is only a peaceful protest if you have a permit and you are doing it in a legal fashion. Illegally occupying a place is not a peaceful protest. It is an act of criminality, and it must be addressed as such. And when you threaten people during your act of criminality, you are a terrorist. That's right. Well, Biden's education secretary is out of his mind. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona, I'll stop that, Washington Times. I have a subscription. I pay you clowns. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona defended his new federal rules requiring schools to let students use the bathroom of their choice, saying he's defending the rights of transgender students who have been under attack in our country. Wow. Mr. Cardona brushed aside concerns that biological girls might feel unsafe and lashed out at opponents of the new bathroom rules as trying to create division. No, you're creating division and you're endangering the safety of biological females. We have evidence of rapes occurring in bathrooms by biological males posing as girls, raping high school girls. We saw this in Virginia, and that's why Terry McAuliffe is not the governor of Virginia and someone else is. Stop lying. Federal rules, don't adhere to them. Don't take federal money. Screw the federal government. U.S. diplomat explains why she quit the Biden administration over the Gaza war. Hala Rarit resigned from the State Department last week, and she tells us, I will not be the reason why someone hates America. Actually, sweetheart, you're exactly the reason why people hate America. You and your leftist kin. Yep. 18-year veteran of the State Department. She served in multiple locations. Yep. She didn't anticipate her career ending after she was appointed as ambassador. Yeah, it's been a lonely journey for her. She said many of her former colleagues are fearful of being targeted or disciplined by the State Department for expressing views that are contrary to U.S. policy. Well, they should be fearful. It's not your role to express opinions contrary to the U.S. government. Your role is to carry out U.S. foreign policy. You don't get to pick your own rules. I didn't get to pick my own rules. I didn't get to pick which wars I got to participate in. I didn't get to pick which policies I supported. They were legal. Shut your mouth, Rarit, and get out. Futsek. Yep. I believe in the power to change things from within. I believe in the force of good through diplomacy. I still want to believe in it, she said last week. But at the end of the day, it was abundantly clear to me through so many conversations that I've had that no one within the department, perhaps only the secretary, but no career foreign service officer could really affect any change. Oh my God. Your job is not change. Your job is to execute foreign policy. Where do you get off your arrogance thinking it's your job to change U.S. foreign policy? You asshat. She grew up in Nevada and California and majored in international affairs and Middle Eastern studies at George Washington. Joined the State Department right out of graduate school with no experience, no accomplishments in life. I wanted to help my country. No, you didn't. You wanted to kowtow to foreign powers. I definitely wanted to try to strengthen relations between the U.S. and other nations. Really. Over her career, she worked in Qatar, South Africa, and in Yemen. But in October, she said that she'd refused to give Arab media interviews about Gaza because she felt that the official talking points would inflame the situation. The talking points were provocative. They sometimes completely ignored Palestinians. Early on, it was very, very, very heavy on Israel as the right to defend itself. Yeah, they were invaded, moron. Women were gang raped and shot in the head, their breasts cut off. Children were baked in ovens. Grenades were thrown into shelters and limbs blown off of civilians, and hostages were taken. Of course it was all Israel, you moron. Israel didn't even respond for 3 weeks. Of course early on it was all Israel. What plight of Palestinians? There was no plight of Palestinians on October 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. There was no plight of Palestinians. You are a sick and twisted, demented leftist. You think it's your role to corrupt U.S. foreign policy with your personal leftist scumbag views? I don't think so. Hit the road, Jackson. Wow. Instead of giving interviews on Gaza policy, she focused on other aspects of her job, including monitoring Arab language media to report internally about their coverage of the conflict. I was seeing on a daily basis the images that were going viral in the Arab world of all the dead children. How can it not get to you as a human being, as a mother? And it was devastating, though, that it was our bombs that were killing the children, most likely. Really? Where's your empathy for 1,200 Jews, Christians, and Muslims executed by terrorists from Hamas? Where is your sympathy and empathy for the thousands of Israeli civilians murdered by suicide bombers on buses and public transport, by missiles launched in Israel over the past 20 years from Gaza? No empathy, silence, because you're a bigot and an anti-Semite. What else could you possibly be? Wow. So the Washington Post gives her a long story, and that's enough coverage of her. United States has accused Russia of using chemical weapons. No, they're using CS gas. Silly, 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 silly. Washington says Moscow breached global ban on chemical weapons with the use of chloripicin, and tear gas. Well, tear gas is not a violation. The United States accused Russia of breaching global ban on chemical weapons by using choking agent chlorpyrifos against Ukrainian troops and employing riot control agents as a method of warfare. Use of such chemicals is not an isolated incident. It's probably driven by Russian forces' desire to dislodge Ukrainian forces from fortified positions achieved tactically into the battlefield. You actually use riot gas, CS gas, on your own recruits, U.S. Army. I know. I was put through the gas chamber. What kind of nonsense you're trying to spread here. Body of the fifth victim from the ship that crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge has been recovered. Miguel Angel Luna Gonzalez, one of 6 workers who went missing on the collapse, was recovered on Wednesday. 1 more remains unaccounted for. Wow. That's a long time since he's been in there. 5 weeks after the bridge collapsed, they finally got him. He was from El Salvador, married with 3 children. Sad news there. Francis Scott Key Bridge. Well, I will never forget any of it. The United States bargained for the release of a pot-smoking, arrogant asshat WNBA player who got herself in trouble by carrying drug paraphernalia into Russia. And they treated it as if she was a political prisoner when she was simply a random criminal. Meanwhile, a U.S. Marine remains in prison in Russia for crimes he did not commit, while the Biden regime lets veterans rot in foreign prisons and gets their favored pigmented class of lesbian, loudmouth, American-hating WNBA players back. So the New York Times Magazine gives a long story to the saga of Brittany Griner. In an interview, the basketball star reveals her humiliation and friendships in Russian prison and her path to recovery. Yes, let's weep for the druggie who hates America. On a March afternoon, when I met Brittany Griner in Phoenix, the wildflowers were in peak efflorescence. California poppies and violent cones of lupine exploding everywhere. Griner was in bloom, too. She was practicing with some local ballers brought in by her WNBA team, the Mercury, to prepare its players for the start of the season in May. On the court, Griner was loose, confident, trading jokes with the other players between runs. She snatched a pass out of the air, drove it to the paint, and pulled up to shoot, the ball kissing the net as it sailed through. Everyone, including Nate Tibbetts, the Mercury's newly hired head coach, who dropped by to watch, erupted in cheers. Griner nodded to herself in quiet satisfaction, keeping her head down as she jogged back to run the play again. Less than 2 years ago, she was starting her 9-year prison sentence in a penal colony, Russia, sewing uniforms for Russian military and subsisting on spoiled food. Blah. Blah. Brittany Griner. A druggie. A druggie. A druggie. Who we devote our foreign policy to getting out. Why? Because she's a lesbian of color. And in the WNBA. The boring league that suddenly just got exciting. Yeah, with the ascension of Caitlin Clark to the league. Richard Lemmer, I covered that story yesterday. Joe Biden is criminally trying to bring Palestinians into the United States permanent residency. They have no reason to have that. Ronell Williams, welcome to you. Did you serve Lieutenant Karen? No, never heard that name. Never that. I would remember that name. Kai Witkowski. No. Yep, I covered that story yesterday, Richard. Yesterday. Ramaphosa is useless as used toilet paper. Yes, I agree. Patrick says, hello, with those supposed students who took the U.S. flag down and put the Palestinian flag up should be charged with treason. Yeah, that's a hard thing to prove, even with 2 witnesses. They should definitely be expelled from school. Thanks, Chris. I'm ex-SAF and will never go back to South Africa except to go visit my dear family. I'm sorry to hear that, Ronell, but I'm glad you're safe wherever you find yourself. Menage a trois, so anyone that protests what the IDF is doing in civilians is anti-Semitic. No, but people express support for Hamas are anti-Semitic. Hamas's stated goal is the expulsion and the murder of all Jews. People express support for them. Now, people who randomly pick their fight and are concerned about the welfare of Palestinians while ignoring the plight of Israeli citizens, Jewish, Muslim, and Christian, is a hypocrite and an anti-Semite. My empathy goes for Palestinian civilians. But, of course, they voted for this garbage. But my empathy is, what the heck is that? my tab just opened up something new. So, no, menage a trois, no. People want to express support for the Palestinians because of the horror befalling them. They must admit and recognize that the Palestinians perpetrated this and launched this war. It is a Hamas war. and have empathy for the victims on both sides. I have empathy for victims on both sides, but I have no tolerance for anti-Semite and anti-Christian haters. Yep. So you are inferring incorrectly, menage a trois. Don Shipley dedicates his time to expose stolen valor criminals. Okay, well, I guess he didn't find her. Saying that Russia's Ukraine invasion is Biden's fault? No, menage a trois. Once again, you're implying or you are inferring incorrectly and making a false implication. I never said that. I said that these people are dying because of Joe Biden and Jens Stoltenberg. Where is the peace conference that the United States or NATO has hosted to end the conflict? Oh, that's right. There hasn't been one. And there won't be one because this is their distraction, their excuse. They welcome the war in Ukraine. It's a great distraction. They don't care how many people die, how many lives are destroyed. They don't care. People are maimed, disfigured, blinded, crippled. They don't care. Putin started this war, So your question is, do I blame Biden? Yeah, I blame Biden because Biden, his incompetence, his cowardice is what encouraged Putin to invade Ukraine. There would have been no war in Ukraine if Trump was president. There would have been no war in Ukraine if someone competent was sitting in the White House, not even Trump, just a competent Democrat. There wouldn't have been a war. Deterrence works. It does. When's the last full-scale invasion of the Korean Peninsula from North Korea? 1950. Ended in 1953. They haven't dared come back across the border in massive numbers ever since. They always do provocations, but they never invaded because deterrence. The deterrent is U.S. forces sitting in South Korea. It's kept them at bay for 70 years. But yes, Ukraine invasion is Biden's fault. That's right. Putin's the criminal, but Biden is the culprit. He's the proximate cause. Peloton is mostly used by white women. Well, not used by white men. Not anymore. Not after their racism. Woke Karens, exactly. There's Erica donating 70 Rand. Thank you, Erica. 70 Rand super chat. Wow, we're getting a few super chats to start the month off. Last month was horrible, folks. That was no money came in last month, ads or anything. Of course, I was busy, so that's probably why. I think Indians' colors only matter to ANC Mafia when they have agenda. Exactly. Do you think Gayton is bad no, I think Gayton is all about Gayton McKenzie. It's self-interested in himself, just like Jacob Zuma. It's all about Jay-Z. It's all about Gayton. It's what he wants, and that's what he's going for. Black is new orange. Yep. Who cares? Gayton is a grifter, says Arctic. Yep. Isn't black. He's black to them. LTV Tech says, haven't listened to news in a while. Ooh, we're in. LTV Tech will be our guest on Sunday, folks. John Jarvis just gave me the link once again to the Constitution, which I have to reread. And I have to go back and read those news articles and see if Propaganda 24 lied to us. Any and all support from the woke is for anyone or anything, solely against Western civilization. Gabriel says, do you see any danger of Russia wanting to push west towards Europe? Well, if the United States and the NATO clowns continue to make ludicrous statements such as Jens Stoltenberg's claim that Ukraine will be in NATO, there's no basis or reason whatsoever for Ukraine to be in NATO. It is going to lead us to war. It is ridiculous. Yep. So, video jammed. I don't know what that means. Yep. Boo-boo Biden, his time. Declan Kelly. Yes, it's taken me ages to stop them. Declan Kelly. Where's Declan Kelly? Light Rain's here. The irony of Jewish people inventing communism is now being attacked by leftists. Well, there's Declan. Is anyone getting bombarded with YouTube ads begging for donations to Palestine? No, I'm not. You mean in general or on my broadcast? I've set it so that YouTube can't send you adverts while I'm doing this broadcast. The only way ads go out is if it's manually done, and I haven't sent any ads. I'm not doing that. I just started trying it for halftime in my rugby broadcast. In fact, we got the Sharks this weekend, so yep. Gayton is like, pala pala, needs a cell. Yeah, probably. So I don't know. I don't know anything about that, Declan. That's not something that I'm experiencing, so I'm sorry if you're getting that. But yeah. Anyway, boy, all the folks here, if I missed you in the chat, Yep, who I missed. I'm sorry if I missed you, but thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's just crazy, folks. It's just crazy what's going on in the world. These riots on campus are being tolerated for far too long. These people are breaking the law. They're threatening violence. They're threatening people in the streets. They're attacking people in the streets. Not all of them, obviously, but many of them. And it is not a peaceful protest. Not a peaceful protest when you hold a protest without a permit. There's a reason for issuing permits to allow people to protest. You can gather and seek a right of redress from the government, but there's no right of redress from a university that's constitutionally protected. It isn't. That's ridiculous. And the university, this nonsense, the BDS movement is back in force. These Jew haters, it's unbelievable. The lies told about Israel, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it, but it's out there. Declan says, not now, just in general. I have not seen any ads about Palestine, Declan. None. I get Trump ads. I get Biden ads. And someone yesterday suggested, was it John Jarvis or maybe someone else suggested, let them play the ad all the way through. Let the ad play. It's not going to change my vote. But he gets billed every time. Yeah, because he's paying for every ad. So that's a good point. So if I get any more Biden ads or Democrat ads, I'm just going to let them run. I'm just going to let them run on YouTube. Let them run all day long. And put those 5-minute ads up there. Let them run. Let them pay for it. Yeah. Yeah, the world is in a basket. It's a mess. But today, folks, I went to the media company, which is Hot Frog here in Mechanicsburg, who helped me with my campaign, with my palm cards and my yard signs and the slogans and things I put together for my election campaign. And I went by and I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I took to 8 individuals large jars of honey, and I took 4 different kinds. I took goldenrod, wildflower, buckwheat, and clover honey. 4 different types. Yep. 2 bottles of each, and let them choose which ones they wanted. They seemed quite pleased with it and grateful that I brought it, and thankful. I'm thankful to them for the effort they put in to help me with my campaign. As unsuccessful as it was, that's not their fault. So I thank them. So that was a target audience. Probably Declan. Yeah, that's the way it works. They're all targeted audience. You're not probably getting Trump ads because you can't do anything. They're only being here. Excuse me. The world is busy with word salads and pronouns and other lunacy and stupidity that doesn't work in other languages, but only trying to play this game in English. Anyway, what are we going to say? I need to go reread the Constitution based on what John Jarvis said, the South African Constitution. I'm sure they were pleased and thankful for the honey. They were. And actually, one of the people I thought was the most skeptical that helped me was very pleased with it. She was like, wow, excited. She loves honey, and she was really grateful for it. So it was a nice touch, I think, and that's the least I could do. They put a lot of effort in. Now, I did pay them for it, but so what? Just because you pay for somebody for something doesn't mean you can't thank them for the effort they put in. And that's what I did. I thanked them for the effort they put in. Yep, they did enjoy it, though. Redacted did a stream on campus protests. They reckon Soros is paying. Really? No idea. One of those channels I watched, was it Redacted? And I'm like, these people are crazy. Was it Redacted? Let me see. I'm trying to see that guy. He was spewing some ridiculous. Redacted. Okay, let me see if that's the one. Oh, I've got to drop off, folks, because Ronaldo is on. I forgot about that. Is it Redacted? Let me see if that's the guy. Yeah, that's the one. Natalia and Clayton. I was watching that, and he was saying some truly bizarre stuff yesterday. I mean, lunatic stuff. So, anyway, let me wrap it up. I'm going to direct you to Ronaldo's stream here. For those of you who are here, let me do that really quickly if you want to go there. So, yeah, ANC's misusing funds, folks. Yep, and they're using the government for their campaign. Hardly a surprise. Where's Ronaldo at? Ronaldo, there it is. 41st birthday. Ronaldo's turned 41 today, so we'll wish him a happy birthday. So let's go join Ronaldo for his birthday celebration. Thanks for being here. I don't have my honey on the side. I live in a homeowners association, and I can't have hives here. I'm going to try and check into it, though. Trying to be population be a priority. It seems like nobody's talking about it. I talk about it a lot, Menage a Trois. Not recently, but before my campaign. That's why it's called the land of milk and honey. Yep. All right, folks. We'll see you on Ronaldo. Cheers, everybody. Let me get Ronaldo up over here before we close. YouTube. Come on, Ronaldo. Come on. There he is. He's got 37. Let's see if we can't drive up his numbers real quick.
Time to SMS.
On his birthday. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And